Hello, everyone. It's Friday. It's Chat with Mack. We're glad to have you with us. To our faithful watchers, thank you for joining us. And to those of you that are new to what we're doing, welcome. Nadeem, how's it going, sir?
Oh, it's going great. Great week. It just flew by. I mean, I think this one went by faster than last week.
It did. It really flew by. But usually when you're having a good week, that happens. And today, I mean, this week was a great week of work and stuff. So yeah, it definitely flew by.
Yeah. So one of the things, Mac, we were talking about a little bit earlier was, I've gotten some feedback from some of the people who watch these videos, and a couple of times people have asked me, what we think about AI, and normally when people talk about AI, I'm thinking how to use AI for business benefit. I'm thinking, predictions. I'm thinking, order predictions, or, raw material predictions, things like that, where we use AI for that on an ongoing basis. But it was a little different this time. This time the question is around AI and what Tesla announced, or Elon said that they were going to do more of like a humanoid robot type AI.
So
yeah, and I want to talk about. I want to get your thoughts around that.
Oh man, I'm a little conflicted, with that whole humanoid AI, because I'm a nerd. I love this stuff. I watch, any of the Boston Dynamics videos that come out, in which they've been making some very frightful strides in AI and robotics. And so, I like it, to some extent. And then there's a part of me that might be a little bit tainted by the movies that we watch that shows, almost kind of a Roko's basilisk type thing, where AI becomes self-aware, and then we have this Terminator type thing that's going to happen. But who knows? I think it has usefulness. They've been toying with the idea, and when art imitates life, if you will, they've been toying with the idea of this type of thing forever. Since I've been a little, boy, you've always seen some kind of humanoid or cyborg or whatever, and now it looks like we're getting closer and closer to it. So the applications on how it can be used is what really interests me. Are we going to see humanoid cyborgs in hospital rooms, in operating rooms? Are we going to see them, whatever? I think that for me is where it's a little bit scary, but a little bit intriguing.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense to have a humanoid type of robot, because then we do not have to retool everything. Like, humans use doorknobs very easily. Humans use certain tools very easily. Then we don't have to reinvent the screwdriver only because a robot can't hold it. Well, if it's humanoid, it can use all the tools humans can. So I think there is going to be some synergy there. So
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
So now, specifically on what Tesla announced, did you watch any of the Tesla videos that came out?
I did. The first day it came in. The funny thing, I meant to send you the video. Like, hey, what do you think about this? But the what's it called? Tesla Bot. I think that's the name of it. Correct?
I don't know. I believe it's Tesla Bot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those videos. I've just seen videos of people talking about it and doing reviews on it, and just knowing Elon, he's going to make an announcement, like way in advance. I mean, it's like the Cybertruck, or it's like the Roadster, or the Semi, this robot thing is going to be, way down the line. But I think where the interest is from a user's or the curiosity is from a perspective of why Tesla, so why humanoid robot is one thing, but why Tesla? I mean, Tesla is a car company, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think I have some insight into that, but I want to get your feedback on that. Why do you think Tesla is going this way?
It's like almost going into the mind of Elon Musk. I mean, God knows what that man thinks about on a day to day. If I could just be one of his neurotransmitters just to see what he thinks about on a day to day basis, I think he really is trying to bring Tesla to multiple applications. Here's the car. They're doing the rockets. And now he's doing, this whole thing with AI. And, I think that he's got so much in his on his mind, similar to Nikolai, Tesla, where he's just got so much on his head that he's trying to branch into. And that's probably why I wouldn't be surprised at some point if Tesla comes out with some kind of brand of food or something. I mean, he's just got so much on his head. So I don't know. He just thinks about a lot of stuff. He's a genius. I mean, he's a modern day genius. And and not to suck up, I'm just saying, Nadeem is almost the same vein. Nadeem's always thinking about stuff, Nadeem is always like thinking like 5 steps. There's some times where he says stuff and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have even thought about that, So it's guys like, these guys that think like worlds apart. You can't catch up. I mean, it's just what it is.
So, coming back to Tesla and the bot, I think it makes sense. And here's why.
Really?
I think it makes sense. So they announced CPUs that they're going to make now for their full self-driving, right? That they're going to put in the cars. Yep. Mm-hmm. Now, think about it this way. These cars that Tesla is making, they're just robots on wheels.
That's all they are. That's true.
So they're going to have their own ASICs. They're going to have their own chips. They're going to have the expertise to build these autonomous systems. And then at the end of the day, they can put it in anything. I mean, why not a humanoid bot? And I think that the good part is that they're going to end up diversifying themselves and become the go-to guys when it comes to AI. And then, everything they're gonna kind of split into. So I think there is a lot of synergy, and it makes sense for them to make this humanoid bot. If they do, even if it's 10 years from now, they are heading in that direction because, the cars are already so aware of their surroundings that they can drive themselves.
But isn't there? And I want to hear your thoughts on this part of it, Nadeem. There's something that not Tesla. I'm sorry. Elon Musk said on a podcast where he didn't think that AI was necessarily bad, but he felt that there could be people could be tempted to use AI as a weapon. Now, with these humanoid bots, and again, I'm going back to the movies. We were talking earlier about iRobot, and in that future, the humanoid bots are used as police officers. They're used as everything. I mean, is that plausible to some point where you think it could be used for, those types of purposes?
Let me give you the example of what happened with I think it was the Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Okay.
When the first connected, internet connected models came out, some guys hacked it to where they can remotely from outside the car apply the brakes.
Oh my.
Right. So if there is a robot, and that is a connected bot, because, I mean, the robot, just like Teslas have to communicate with the mothership. That's how the mothership gains intelligence, is by gathering all this data. So if there is that connection, then that connection can be hacked. My thinking is if somebody can make it, somebody can always break it.
See, that's a little scary.
But so the thing
scary.
is there's always going to be people who are focused on breaking it. The good thing is, yeah, Elon has, talked about AI, but he has also talked on the other side of AI that AI is bad. He's also talked about we have to have certain restrictions in place and we have to, secure it. So he's talked a lot about that as well. So we'll have to see how it, you know, we are at a fork. We don't know which way we're going to go, when the robots are going to be good or the robots are going to be bad. I think it's going to be hybrid. I think the robots in general, as they come from the company, they're going to be good. But once they become a household item, like your smartphones, people are going to jailbreak them. People are going to root them. And when you do that, now it opens up the door to, there might be so many other vulnerabilities now because it's not what the original programming is. Now it's been changed. And now and that's when the can kind of opens up and all these worms come out. Is who do you hold responsible at that point? What happens, and the damage that can be caused. The other side of the equation is, if these bots are all getting signals from a mothership, then all the bad guys are going to target that mothership. Because if there are a billion bots in the world and the mothership's controlling a billion bots, well, yeah, there's a big incentive to attack that mothership as opposed to each bot. So yeah, I mean, but as long as there are some safeguards in place, and I'm not talking about just software-based safeguards, there has to be more than that, because software, software will always have vulnerability, especially if it's like a bot. I mean, a bot that's taking so much input and making decisions. That is an easy prime. I mean, we can't even protect a Windows OS. How are we going to protect, an OS that is like aware of its surroundings? I mean,
Lord, that's a little. I'm telling you. I mean, it's a very scary, thought. Just that part of it, I think, is what really scares me. Is that, and again, art imitates life. I mean, I hate to keep referencing movies, but you see that something gets hacked, something goes wrong. Now there's mayhem, all this other stuff, and now you have, Skynet is self-aware, and now you have the Terminator War. That type of stuff is what scares me personally. Is what you described. It's not fail-safe.
Yeah, and but on the brighter side of things, I gave somebody an example of this, and it's like, well, if you have a humanoid robot, you can tell that robot, take these scissors and mow my yard through the night with a pair of scissors. And the response I got, I forget who I was talking to about this, and the response I got was, well, that's just mean. I mean, why are you being abusive to that? And it's like, well, it's a robot. It's a machine.
It's a robot. It's a machine. What do you mean?
I mean, that's so you don't have to make all that noise running a mower. You just tell your robot, take that pair of scissors and just go mow the yard. Let it run all through the night.
I love it.
So there are advantages to that, right? So I mean, we can do something like that, or have, like right now, I know the bomb squad uses robots to defuse bombs and things like that, and so of course there's that. But the prospect of an OS that is so aware of its surroundings, there are just so many variables. It's, it's. Think of it this way. if somebody was aware of how the OS of a robot handles certain external input, you can adjust the external input to make it do things you want it to do.
Mm.
You know,
Wow.
it's almost like Teslas can be fooled by certain signs and they get confused. I mean, Tesla cars, yeah, they're not full self-driving, and there's a reason for that. Is they get confused on certain signage. I mean, even my wife's car, it has this lane assist, and a lot of times it gets messed up because it's those lane markings that they've removed. The human eye, and I can tell it used to be a lane marking, but now it's not there. But the car can't tell the difference, and it kind of nudges you and says, "Oh, hey, I'm getting out of my lane." Now take that a step further. Like her car, it's self-correcting, so it'll kind of try to steer. So you can actually feel it in the steering where it's thinking it's getting out of the lane, so it wants to keep in the lane. So all you have to do is fool the car with, could be a light, could be something to fool it that, hey, there's a lane, so go into the oncoming traffic.
Huh. Wow. Jeez. Haven't they been really, now I don't know if it's Tesla. No, I think it is Tesla. Tesla has been really working on the self-automated driving cars. I know at one point they had a test market in Arizona. Something went a little awry with that, but they're still really trying to improve that. As a matter of fact, I think I heard that they're building a more I thought I heard something more along the lines like they're building a updated version that has learned from those issues, and now it's supposed to be a little bit better. So, just in vein of AI, San Francisco now has self-driving Ubers, and I think they've had it for the last year. From what I'm hearing, it's there's going to be more. I mean, so.
Yeah, but I don't know about the self-driving Ubers. I mean, so Tesla is a little different than, because those self-driving Ubers, they have this whole, I mean, they have all kinds of sensors on top, and it's an ugly looking thing. Teslas, they have just regular sensors. I think they don't even have a LiDAR in there because Elon was against that. And but I think cars like that should have LiDAR, and the reason for that is the more input they can get, the better they can sense. We have the technology where a car can see more than the human eye can see. Let's give it that advantage. The more information it has, the better it can decide. It's like the my wife's car, when it's detecting those lanes, it's because it's just trying to get an image and then parse that image into what it could be, and it's seeing that line. It's, even though it's been removed, but it's not looking at it with the same depth as the human eye is. And I don't even know if it's stereoscopic input that is getting. I think it's not stereoscopic. It's just one camera that I see that detects it. So it's just a monocular type. So depth perception is going to be an issue, and it's going to make some mistakes. Now, if you throw in LiDAR and some other sensors in there, then I mean, it could be very good and much better. What Tesla's got going for them is, though, that they are developing their own chips now, and they send all this data, even the errors, back to mothership, process it, and get better. They're learning from the mistakes they're making. So that's huge, because I think Tesla is going to be way ahead of everybody else, every other auto manufacturer, by the time it gets all approved and goes through the legalese and all that. So I think they're going to be way ahead of everybody else.
So for the uninitiated, Nadeem, what is LiDAR?
So it's like a radar. Think of it like a radar, but instead of radio frequency, it's lasers.
Gotcha.
So it's very accurate. It can see things that the human eye cannot see. It has very good depth perception, because we can measure the distance from here to the moon, because we can shoot a laser at the moon, and when it reflects back, we can calculate that, right? And we know the moon is moving away from the Earth, so many, feet or centimeters per year. But so the lasers and the lidar is very accurate when it comes to depth perception. So that's an advantage that a car with lidar is going to have over a car that doesn't. But for whatever reason, so Teslas didn't have lidar, and for whatever reason, and I don't know if it was if Elon made that decision before, or his cars didn't have lidar, so he just wanted to talk bad about lidar. He was like, "Oh no, we're not going to do lidar." I mean, yeah, it's going to raise the cost a little bit, but at the end of the day, if you can give it that competitive advantage against a human, wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you want to make it safer?
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. But I think Elon is going on the concept that he can get all these inputs, and then he can make his mothership learn from it and make it better over time. It doesn't matter if you have a lidar or not. He's gonna improve it over time, just because he's gonna have all this data that he can gather, he can assess, and then have the car make better decisions on that. But yeah, so I mean, I'm thinking it is in Tesla's domain to make this humanoid robot because they have their own chips now that I don't know if they've started manufacturing or not. I know there was a prototype that they've been working on, but they have their chips. So they have the ASICs for AI. They've been doing AI in their cars for a while now, and it's just a natural progression. If you can put AI into 4 wheels, why not 2 feet?
Wow, that's actually a good point. Never thought of it like that, but now that's a very good point. That's a very good point, huh? Wow, that's a great point. I'm leery, but I am excited. Like I said, I love this stuff, and I don't know if our audience has ever, and I think Nadeem, you have, if you've ever looked at if you get a chance, look at Boston Dynamics and see what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's almost similar. They have robots that are doing parkour. I mean, doing flips. It's crazy to me. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's I've seen some of the stuff that comes out of Boston Dynamics, and I've seen their quadruped robots.
Yep.
I think they even had if I remember correctly, there was one with just one appendage, and it was always hopping on it, but it could calculate and keep itself balanced even though it was hopping.
It's nuts. I mean, it's absolutely nuts what's happening out. They have they have a robot bomb dog that I think the New York and the New Jersey police is using, that Boston Dynamics made, that has the AI to be able to search out bombs, knows the type of bombs, actually has, and I don't know, actually has an olfactory sensor, like a regular dog, that can actually smell and say, okay, it's this type. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, we live in some exciting times, and I'm sure, every time people have said that their time was the most exciting time. And I think the more we go into the future, the more exciting the times get, just
Absolutely.
Because, like what's magic to us now is going to be routine 10 years from now.
10 years from now.
But their magic, we can't even comprehend. We haven't even thought about it.
At all. It's crazy.
So I think with that, we'll leave some of these thoughts in everybody's mind, and see how their weekend goes, if they dream of robots waking them up in the morning or what happens. But no, I mean, it's really, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, this would be something very interesting and exciting to work on.
It would be.
I mean, it's just going to catapult humanity into the next phase. I mean, think about it. If we can, even if we don't have good propulsion systems, we can put a few robots into a spaceship. So what if it takes 20 years for it to get anywhere, or 200 years to get anywhere?
That's a good point.
That's small potatoes. A robot's life is going to be so much longer than a human's life, and the only thing you need is power. And if you have a spaceship that is powered by, let's say, star energy, energy from stars, or if it has a nuclear reactor that is powering it, then you got plenty of power. I mean, it could be 200 years by the time that ship gets anywhere, and we'll still have the robots. So, so some of those movies where you see, some science fiction movies where, these entities arrive on Earth and they're just robotic, and we could be the ones sending those to other places.
And that could very well be it, and it's funny. Funny you talk about that. I was just watching Star Wars Rogue One, just unwinding and watching it last night, and just thinking like, man, nuclear propulsion, as far as, having the ability to, leave Earth, leave the atmosphere without any type of resistance. And I was just thinking, now you bring it up, like, I wonder how far are we from that type of, power where, you just at lift, you have the power. It would be amazing. It would be.
Well,
amazing.
let me put it this way. Splitting the atom is the densest way we have of getting energy. That's what stars do. That's the best, the densest way we know of yet. So the problem is with some of the nuclear issues, the accidents that we've had in the past, it kind of halted a lot of that development. A lot of the R&D just stopped because it wasn't, and I think we made some missteps there, because if we had kept that R&D going, we could have powered some of these, vessels going into space with nuclear power, and not have to, have so much hydrogen or so much fuel to get them out of orbit. I mean, we're using the bulk of that just to get them out of orbit.
Out of orbit,
I mean, so why not use the densest form of energy that we know to when we need energy? I mean, it just makes sense. And as far as, and I've heard this, and so I'm going to say it. Look, you cannot pollute space with radiation. There's already plenty of that out there. Yeah, so don't worry about that. You're not going to survive without a spacesuit in space anyway, so don't worry about that. But anyway, so I think with that we'll call it a day. That's a whole nother topic that we can do a couple of videos on. But no, it's I think it's if Tesla can pull it off and they execute on this correctly, I think the synergy is there. They are already the leaders almost in AI, just because of what they're developing with the fully self-driving cars. It's just one natural step, and instead of 4 wheels, you put them on 2 feet, and the technology is going to be the same. I mean, if your technology understands the environment and makes decisions based on that input, then it doesn't matter what form factor you put it in. It's like if you have a CPU, you can put it in a laptop, or you can put it in a desktop, or you can put it in a server. It's the same thing.
Wow. Crazy.
So with that, everybody, have a great day, and be safe out there. Mack, you have a great weekend, and we'll see everybody next week.
You guys.